cricket, Holi and diplomacy. Australian Prime Minister was in India recently as both the nations marked 75 years of bilateral relations. In a changing geopolitical landscape in the Indo-Pacific region, both these nations have been strengthening their diplomatic ties in recent years. Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese and Prime Minister Narendra Modi met in New Delhi to discuss various issues including the strengthening of defence partnerships and the completion of an economic cooperation agreement. During the talks, MOUs were signed in sports and audiovisual co-production agreements and a solar task force was established. Add to the mix a splash of Holi with India celebrating the festival of colours and cricket, as both the Aussie and Indian Prime Ministers took a lap of honour during the 4th India-Australia Test match in Ahmedabad. As two of the world's oldest democratic allies, India and Australia have been able to maintain a strong relationship despite the challenges of history, political changes and socio-economic transformations. Their growing partnership is marked by shared goals, mutual benefits and a desire for a free, inclusive, open Indo-Pacific working relationship. Trade, commerce and business linkages have gained significant momentum, culminating in the historic India-Australia Economic Cooperation and Trade Agreement. India-Australia diplomatic relations have witnessed a significant upswing in recent years, particularly since Prime Minister Narendra Modi came to power in 2014. With both countries sharing a democratic system of government and a common vision of a free and open Indo-Pacific region, the relationship has evolved into a comprehensive strategic partnership or CSP that covers various sectors including defence, trade, education and people-to-people ties. Prime Minister Modi has prioritized economic engagement with Australia. The two countries are currently negotiating the Comprehensive Economic Cooperation Agreement or CECA, which is expected to boost bilateral trade and investment. The India-Australia Economic Cooperation and Trade Agreement or ECTA, negotiated and signed on 2nd April 2022, was a significant step in this direction. The agreement is likely to increase bilateral trade leading to growth and employment. Indian exports will benefit from preferential zero-duty market access in Australia for 100% of its tariff lines, which will benefit India's labour-intensive sectors such as gems and jewellery, textiles, leather, footwear, furniture, food and agricultural products, engineering products, medical devices and automobiles. On the other hand, India has provided preferential access to Australia on over 70% of its tariff lines, which are primarily raw materials and intermediaries such as coal, mineral ores, etc., which are required for our domestic manufacturing industry. Moreover, Australia has also provided additional market access and mobility facilities for Indian professionals, including chefs and yoga teachers. India and Australia are also engaged in negotiation for an international agreement on investment. A desk of Invest India in Australia is also in the pipeline to boost trade and investment. The recent exchange of terms of reference for the Solar Task Force and the Audio-Visual Co-Production Agreement will further strengthen the economic partnership between India and Australia. India, Japan and Australia formally launched the Supply Chain Resilience Initiative or SCRI on 27th April 2021. India and Australia have also reached a major milestone in working towards investment in critical minerals projects to develop supply chains between the two countries. Australia produces almost half of the world's lithium, is the second largest producer of cobalt and the fourth largest producer of rare earths. India seeks to build new supply chains underpinned by critical minerals processed in Australia that will help India's plans to lower emissions from its electricity network and become a global manufacturing hub, including for electric vehicles. One of the significant developments in India-Australia relations has been a renewed focus on defence and security cooperation. National security has been a top priority of the Modi government, and therefore India has been forging partnerships with nations that facilitate intelligence exchange. The two countries have signed several agreements, including the Framework for Security Cooperation, which enables the exchange of classified information and intelligence, and the Logistics Support Agreement, which facilitates access to each other's military bases and ports for refueling and maintenance. In 2021, India and Australia conducted the first ever virtual summit between their defense ministers, highlighting the deepening defense partnership between the two countries. India-Australia defense exercises have also continued to expand. Australia participated in exercise Malabar along with India, US and Japan. The first ever bilateral maritime exercise AUS Index 15 was conducted in Visakhapatnam and the Bay of Bengal in September 2015. The exercise has grown in complexity over the years and 4 editions have been held till now. In 2018, Indian Air Force participated for the first time in the exercise Pitch Black in Australia. India was invited for the first time to observe the biannual Australia-US bilateral exercise Talisman Sabre in 2021. For the first time, the Indian Navy participated along with the navies of France, Japan, United States and Australia in the multilateral maritime exercise La Perouse in the Eastern Indian Ocean from 5 to 7th April 2021. The India-Australia Cyber Security Dialogue established in 2017 provides a platform for both countries to engage in discussions and collaboration on various aspects of cyber security. It aims at enhancing the cooperation between the two countries in combating cyber threats and to promote the secure use of emerging technologies, capacity building, international norms and rules, and cooperation in the field of cyber security. A civil nuclear cooperation agreement between the two countries was signed in September 2014 during the visit of then Prime Minister Tony Abbott to India. The agreement provides the framework for substantial new trade in energy between Australia and India. The Australian Parliament passed the Civil Nuclear Transfer to India Bill 2016 in December 2016, which ensures that uranium mining companies in Australia may fulfill contracts to supply Australian uranium to India for civil use with confidence that exports would not be hindered by domestic legal action challenging the consistency of the safeguards applied by the IAEA in India and Australia's international non-proliferation obligations. It also ensures that any future bilateral trade in other nuclear-related material or items for civil use will also be protected. Education is another area of significant cooperation between India and Australia. Australia has become a popular destination for Indian students and both countries have launched various initiatives to enhance educational partnerships. The India-Australia Education Council aims to promote collaboration between universities, research institutions and vocational education and training providers. The Australia-India Education Strategy 2025 outlines a roadmap for cooperation in education with a focus on student mobility, joint research and faculty exchange. Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese announced an Australia-India Education Qualification Recognition Mechanism, under which degrees obtained in Australia will now be recognized in India and vice versa. He also announced that Geelong's Deakin University will be the first overseas university to open its branch campus in India at Gandhinagar's Gift City. A new Maitri scholarship for Indian students to study in Australia for up to 4 years was also announced. The Australian government will also be contributing $1.89 million for running skills program in India in the area of agriculture, which is a critical sector for India. The recent meeting between Prime Minister Modi and Prime Minister Albanese focused on enhancing mutual security, which will include logistics support for each other's militaries, especially in the Indo-Pacific region. The relationship is poised to play an essential role in shaping the Indo-Pacific region's future, with both countries working towards a free, inclusive and open Indo-Pacific. The Quad has been another forum where India and Australia, along with US and Japan, have been deepening engagement engagement as strategic partners in the region. Australia will soon host the Malabar Naval Exercise for the first time, another sign of enhanced defence cooperation. Besides this, culture and people-to-people ties between India and Australia have warmed up in recent years, a key feature of Modi diplomacy. The two countries have celebrated the 75th anniversary of their diplomatic relations with several events, including the commemoration of the milestone with a cricket match at the Narendra Modi Stadium in Ahmedabad. In 2014, Prime Minister Modi became the first Indian Prime Minister to visit Australia in almost 3 decades. In 2022, Australia returned 29 stolen artifacts that belonged to India after the Indian government apprised them about the same. The restitution of the artifacts was yet another proof of deepening ties between the two nations built on trust and cooperation. Additionally, Prime Minister Modi, during his meeting with Prime Minister Albanese this month, raised the issue of recent attacks on Indian temples in Australia that have been a cause of concern for the Indian community there. In response, Albanese assured Prime Minister Modi that the safety of the Indian community is of special priority for him, and their teams will cooperate on this matter as much as possible. So that was all in this episode of NIJ Explained. Do let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Until next time, this is Richa Dwivedi signing off. Dhanyavad and Namaste.